Hello and welcome to another Supplier Diversity and Small Business Economic Report. I am Jamie White, and I am here to give you the rundown on the biggest news this week and how it can affect the economy and essentially the dealings for small and diverse businesses. Now, obviously, I want to start this off with the big news. I guess it's kind of a special, but the 2018 midterm elections within the United States of America. Now, if you're not aware, which if you're in business, I'm 99.9% sure you are, but basically, the big takeaways from the election that happened this Tuesday is that Republicans no longer have the majority in the presidency, as well as, well, not majority, but they no longer have the presidency and the majority within the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, Democrats were able to, I guess if you want to call it this, win back the House, and now they are the majority within that particular part of Congress. So what that means, as you are all probably well aware of, is that now President Trump's agenda will now have to have bipartisan support in order to go through. Now, and again, I'm not here to discuss politics with anyone. I'm just here to talk about kind of this process, what this means, and what this could potentially, what the process means, and how this could potentially impact your business, both positively and negatively. Now, I want to, start the conversation off just by simply saying, as of right now, nobody knows what the impact is going to be. The House, the new people who have been elected have not been sworn in. Obviously, the rhetoric on when people were running and saying different things, yada yada yada. That's politics talk. We really don't know what they're going to do when they get into Congress. A lot of things can happen. Things change from when you're on the trail promoting whatever your political stance is to when you actually have to get into these meetings and formulate these partnerships, network, and then make these deals. So as of right now, there's no way that you can predict what's going to happen, but we can hypothesize and think about what may happen. But when you're talking about the process, obviously it's going to be a little bit slower now, um, simply because instead of having a majority House and Senate, uh, you now have a split with Republicans in the Senate and the House being situated or split with or not split, but the House being Democratic and the Senate being Republican. Now, a lot of people like to say the whole fact that, well, even with Republicans having the majority House and majority Senate, a lot of things weren't able to get done. There is some truth to that. There was a lot of things such as Obamacare, such as immigration, such as a couple other things that um, President Trump promised that was not able to push through. However, with that being said, a lot of that actually happened on the Senate side. If anything, you could argue that the big pushback within the Senate was a John McCain type, and he's no longer there. Neither are a couple of other people who are major pushbacks in the Senate. So had Republicans kept the House and had the Senate, they would have probably gotten a lot more done. To be completely honest, in addition to that, the House on the Republican side actually was pretty decent in pushing through policy that Trump wanted. So this is pretty bigger news than people are, in my opinion, are stating. Had he was able to retain the House and get the Senate, I think he would have gotten a lot more of his policy done, just because the House was already backing him in their own way, and putting forth policy. Now, was that an Obamacare situation where they were pushing policy knowing that it wouldn't get through the Senate? I'm talking about, over the past previous 3 years, maybe. But we can only talk about what was getting done, and Republicans in the House were actually backing Trump in a lot of ways here. So now it switches over to the Democrats, which means that no matter what the president says and the Senate says, this in terms of policy affecting certain things, which we're going to get into in a second, um, now they're going to need bipartisan support. So what I want to do here is I just want to look. I'm at the New York Times, and I definitely want to just pinpoint some things. As you can see, the House Democrats 225. You need 218 in order to take control. They have easily taken control. Not all, uh, not all runoffs, or not all. What do you call it? Polls or polls have been closed, but not all. I don't know, competitions, or when representatives and senators are going, not elections, here we go, have been called. So they're still voting or still counting votes even as we speak. But for right now, as you can see, the Democrats have the majority house, and they're probably going to pick up some extra ones along the way. Senate is a little tricky. As you can see, if you count this, it's 51 plus 46. So the ones in bold are the ones that have already been called. However, if you notice, there's only two here that we can see. So, you know, 46 plus 51, that equals 97. Plus two, I think it was 99. So the reason why it's not 100 is because Mississippi is actually going to go into a runoff later this year. I think it's late November, but it's pretty much projected that's probably going to go Republican. So you can have this 51 be 52 here, and then we're probably going to get the Rick Scott at 53, and then Christine Cinema, which surprisingly on originally what happened with the Senate is that it was estimated that it was going to go 55-45 the night of the poll when people were counting the votes. But what we've seen is that at least two Democrats have picked up seats along the way over the past couple of days due to the counting of the votes. Cinema probably is going to win here. I was looking it up. They've got less than 500,000 votes remaining, and they're all in the Phoenix area. So if you're looking for like an urban area or one of the suburbs of the urban area, more than likely what we found in the midterms is that they're going to go blue versus if they're in the more geez, I'm forgetting my my lingo here. Jeez. Yep. So if they're in the urban or suburban areas, they're more likely to go blue versus if they're more in the outskirts and more the rural areas, they're more likely to go red. So and this is pretty good. They tell you just pretty big things like the gains in the House or who gained the most in the House, which is plus 30, obviously, because they had to in order to flip them, and then plus two with the Senate. Um, so they're probably gonna finish off around was that 53? I think I said yep. So 53, 46, 47 most likely, and then Democrats have the majority. So at that point, it really doesn't matter. So there's probably going to be a lot more that can get done, more so in the judicial area. So there's not, unless you're getting sued or or there's things that you need to get done or promote in terms of the law. It's more on the political side of business, so we're not going to get there. But when you're talking about getting things done in terms of new infrastructure, new financial pieces as well, the House is really big for that, and now we have to, as a country, we have to go through the Democrats in order to get it. Now, governor elections, I definitely want to take a look at this as well. It's probably going to be 26, so 26, 23. So we're waiting one more. I'm not exactly sure which one that is. But as you can see, um, we're more towards parity. Yep, so you can see it here. Republicans lost 6 seats. Is that true? I do know that. Yep. So they lost 6 seats, and Democrats picked up 7 seats, which is pretty big. Yeah, I think around as of last year it was about 60% Republican in terms of governors. This is really big because the redistricting of the maps is coming up. And that's really important, especially when you're talking about businesses and trying to figure out where you're trying to put your business and how is that going to affect what taxes and whatnot. That redistrict line is really important. So we're going to see probably more so urban areas and and their suburbs become expanded, and the rural areas in terms of redistricting are probably going to become a little bit smaller in these areas, or actually nationwide because Democrats have picked up more seats. So definitely take that into note when you're figuring out kind of where you're located and how that's going to affect you. So election. So I was debating whether to show this or not, but definitely just want to show it, just go over it. It's pretty much, I agree in most parts to what we're talking about here, which is the winners and losers. So as you can see, losers are liberal Democrats. Basically, the Democrats that are really far left. We saw the country not really put as much stock or vote as much for the ultra liberal Democrats, which was a little bit of a surprise based on how the media was portraying this. Obviously, the winner, Senator Mitch McConnell, he's the head of the Senate for the Republican Party in the Senate. So obviously he picked up I think two extra votes now, so he can do a little bit more, especially when it comes to the judicial parts, which I'm not going to get into, but good for them. Winner House Democrats, obviously, because they were able to take back the House. Loser Donald Trump, loser and winner Donald Trump. Winner Donald Trump, obviously, for what I just said, he got more votes in the Senate, which means from a judicial perspective, he can push more, as well as from a foreign perspective, foreign policy perspective, he can push that more. Loser because now, if any president who goes from having majority Senate and House to just one majority is going to be a loser by de facto. I'm not going to go into it too much. Moderate Republicans, which is really unfortunate. We saw moderate Democrats come out really big on this one, but moderate Republicans not so much. A lot of them were trying to navigate the whole can't go too far right and for the Trump support, can't go too far left or I'll become a Democrat. Unfortunately, in this day and age where Republicans have moved a little bit more right when it comes to their policy, those moderate Republicans most likely will get kind of pushed out because you have to be a hardliner. It's unfortunate, but you do have to be a hardliner on the Republican side in this day and age. And if you're not willing to take that, then take that stance, you will lose some support. And then lastly, winner is women and LGBT candidates. We saw a huge number of women and a couple of LGBTQ candidates be elected. For LGBTQ, I think the big one was the Colorado. Governor of Colorado is now, or is now was historical victory. As you can see here, Jared Polis, openly gay man to win governor's race. And then just a ton of women. Religious affiliations as well was pretty big in this midterm. So we're seeing a very extremely diverse America, and it's only going to get more and more diverse, which is pretty good. So, pretty interesting topics and pretty interesting things that I definitely wanted to note when it comes to the election. Now, the other big one that I wanted to talk about, and as you can see here, Maxine Waters. Now, an extremely controversial figure for Republicans and Democrats alike. I'm pretty sure you're all aware about her relationship with President Trump, who did not have many fine things to say about her, nor did she have many fine things to say about Trump. This woman is now going to be the, let's see if it says it, the chairwoman of the House Financial Services Committee. Now, if you're not aware of what that means, uh, long story short, she's basically now in charge of regulation to banks. So, um, what that means is that basically banks now have to report to her in terms of how they're doing business. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because it's really big. Um, we'll see. Again, I said that the biggest known that we know is that there's a ton of unknowns. So how Representative Maxine Waters kind of navigates this and how she deals with this is going to be a really big topic in my opinion. Uh, Excuse me. She did already release a statement, which I'm not going to read all of it, but basically, what she says is that she promises that, as you can see here, it's selected my colleagues. She's basically promising to prioritize more fairness for investors and consumers. Uh, that includes, when it comes to housing, when it comes to personal investing, when it comes to homelessness, anything that what she's basically trying to prevent is another financial crisis. Uh, as of right now, we're not really anywhere near a financial crisis, but it could be argued by some that we just don't see it yet. Which if you want to take that stance, that's fine. But that's pretty much what she's already come out and saying. So what we can probably imagine is that regulation will increase versus in the past. In addition to that, what you can also bet that's going to happen is interest rates will probably hike. I think the next one that's going to come up is in December. So with an increase in regulation for banks and interest rate hikes over the next couple of years, that may potentially lead to some small businesses when it comes to you trying to access capital and things of that nature. So we're already, I mean, and there's some other things too, okay? Because we got trade tariffs. Naturally, the economy is already coming to a slower or slowing down a little bit. But with this, we're going to see most likely we're going to see some more regulation, which is probably going to hit this as well. Now, I'm not even a fan for of or against what's going on, in politics and kind of what's going on with the trade war and it's trade. That's what it's called, trade war. So that's what I'm going to find it as. But that's just kind of some of the things that you need to be aware of moving forward. Definitely take this information, do your own research, obviously, and formulate your own plan in terms of how you want to deal with that with your business too. This is just more information on kind of the what the economic outlook is that you should definitely take a look at as well. So some of the things that are touched upon is like healthcare, uh, as you can see, infrastructure as well is really big. So fintech, where's infrastructure? Yep, infrastructure. So some of the things that Congress could possibly be working towards because both sides kind of agree on, and some of the things that maybe a little bit tougher to work on, such as like in trade war. I'm not going to touch the Mueller investigation, but taxes as well. But that's kind of some of the things that I wanted to touch upon. If I had more time, I'd love to kind of go more in depth on at least this article, but kind of in a rush here. But definitely as always, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to listen. As always, please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment on the video if you're so inclined. And you know, uh, things are changing in America. Not bad at all. I do see some upside, some things that you need to be wary of, but a lot of upside on what this could bring for small businesses. As always, with change comes opportunity. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity for businesses to get into some of these private and public sector opportunities. So definitely take a look. If you have anything or if you know anything, definitely let me know so I can share it here as well. So once again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.